confidence with safe sex.
I know growing up, coming out in LA in that time in the early 80s, we were hungry for information on what you could do and what you couldn't do. And I know you were frustrated at times that the word wasn't getting out, but it was getting out. I mean,
When the community wanted to silence us, they wanted us just to talk about AIDS in terms of there's a virus, it landed in the community, could happen to housewives in Des Moines, just happened to happen to gay men, nothing that we're doing is bad for it. And we were saying, but whenever Michael Callan or I had an opportunity to talk to gay men, especially sluts, it was like, we get it. It makes sense. Okay, this is what we need to do. And it was actually the first gay men with AIDS in New York City that banded together, even while they were facing death, and produced the first safe sex, brochures in New York City. It was gay men with AIDS in San Francisco that produced the Can We Talk brochure. So I mean, there were gay men who were sexually active, who understood what we were saying, and who understood that if there was salvation to come out of this, it was that it's important for gay men to care about each other. Gay men should have the right to marry. Gay men should have the right to make whatever choices they want, including to live a life of non-monogamy. And those were the people that suffered the most by censoring what we were saying in the early days when safe sex began.
now, you talk about rights. You were sort of a civil rights activist before this whole health crisis came.
I was an activist in college. There were a lot of homophobic acts when I was at Rutgers University, and the minute I went to Rutgers, I went up to the student office. I wanted to write about Katharine Hepburn, and I didn't. I was trying to deny I was gay, but I fell onto the art section of the school paper, and it was all lesbians, feminists, and gay men. So it was that experience of just wanting to write about the arts that I found a little band of, people that would support me, and made me realize, not too many straight men have Kate on Cavett on their calendar. Might, face the fact you're gay. So, so they kind of brought me out, and then we used the art section to champion gay rights, to champion lesbian and feminist issues, to champion the gay arts. And so the backlash against what we were doing by the gays ruling the art staff of the school newspaper was that it kind of ignited and incited homophobic acts on campus. So then we moved out of the art section into the news section, and we confronted them and we attacked them. And yes, I led a march against a fraternity that did something bad.
The whole health crisis sort of put the civil rights movement on the back burner. And people were fighting just for their lives at that point. And it's sort of come around to where civil rights is right back on the agenda now in a national way. How do you feel about it?
I think it's great. I think AIDS sapped a lot of energy from other issues, and if we can just get back to teaching a new generation about not just what safe sex is, but how safe sex came about and why safe sex came about, and that it's not just about HIV, it's also about other sexually transmitted virus infections, and that once we educate sexually active gay men about safe sex, then we can spread out our energies to focus on other issues.
Do you do much outreach to young people today? I mean,
I've been living in a cave for like 5 years. I mean, there haven't been any opportunities for me to get out there and talk to young people. But what's happened since the documentary was finished, and I've been traveling all over the country to film festivals, 20-year-olds that grew up on the internet being able to access porn from the age they can click a mouse, they get it. They love the sexual graphicness of the film. They're astounded that they don't know where safe sex came from. And so, because I'm 53 and the film was made by a 24-year-old filmmaker, Daryl Ween.
oh really?
Oh, yeah. So it's told by a 24-year-old, and it resonates with young people. They don't want things sanitized. If you're going to talk to them about sex, just say it like it is. They've been on the internet. They've seen everything. They're more informed and aware than any generation.
Yeah, they really are. And the film makes the point. It's hard to get them to understand the gravity of it without people dying every day. I mean, that was a thing that people just don't understand.
Right.
How did
they think that you pop these pills and everything's okay? They don't understand that the consequences of these pills is a fast track to aging. That in a community that's so obsessed with looking and staying young, these pills basically age you on the fastest track possible. They're bad for your vital organs. They're bad for your bones. They're bad for your hair. They're bad for everything. It's like light dose chemo. So the idea that these pills are no big deal, they are a big deal. Once you become HIV positive, you are now basically an indentured servant of the medical establishment that has no particular value for your life. And the idea that popping these pills is no big deal, it is a big deal. And safe sex is worth every ounce of effort to avoid. But you know, accidents happen. I've met a lot of gay men in the last year who have been very diligent about safe sex and who end up being infected. And we need not to demonize people who become infected. Stuff happens. It's not easy. Safe sex is not a wonderful thing, but it's a shitty world, and it's something that we have to do our best to adapt to protect ourselves and our partners. But you know, it's not easy, and we shouldn't pretend it is, and we shouldn't pretend it's wonderful. I mean, it just is what we have to do.
Great message. Dr. Sonnabend in the film says it's a miracle you made it through.
I think he meant it's a miracle I made it through the drugs.
How did you make it through? How did you do it?
Well, poverty helps because you have no money to buy stuff. But but I mean, I kept relapsing every time. You know, I have this thing for young gay men, and you know, here, take my security, take my SSI check. You know, it's like I'm a sucker for young, cute pussy bottoms. So I'm really trying to be careful about, you know, who I let into my life, because I'm at this age of my life. I really don't want to relapse again. And I feel really hopeful and inspired because I get a tremendous joy talking to young people without pouncing on them for sex. I mean, I really feel inspired to see that a new generation is so informed and so secure in who they are and care about other issues beyond the gay movement, and see gay rights and lesbian gay rights and marriage rights and transgendered rights as part of a larger agenda of, you know, progressive politics.
I think things are hopeful with Obama in charge. A dumb question.
It's unbelievable. I mean, what he even said on the campaign trail, it's wonderful what Bush did for Africa, but what about prevention at home? So I think we need to be a little patient, but I think the funds will be coming, and I think there's so much great energy out there, and there are really wonderful things being done all over the country and all over the world to try to reach young people and say, hey, this is important. Don't dismiss this as not germane to your sexual expression, because the bottom line is, for a lot of young people between the ages of like 18 and 23, you do a lot of crazy things. You try things you may not, you know, and it'd be so great if we could inform them that there are ways to get through those wonderful exploratory celebratory youth years, so that when they're 25 or 30 and find someone they want to spend their life with, they're not bringing herpes or syphilis or HIV to the relationship. So I think it's important to reach young people, and
that's why they should see the documentary.
Absolutely. I mean, yes. I mean, everyone's heard of safe sex. No one's heard where it came from, and the reason you don't know it is because it came from a hustler, a clap doctor, and a bathhouse slut.
Okay,
that's the story.
That's the story. That's why you got to see this. Congratulations on your work.
Thank you.
It is greatly appreciated.
Thank you. I appreciate you doing a story.
You've saved lots of lives despite all the people that have died.
Thank you.
And good luck with it.
Thanks a lot.